you went through bankruptcy, right? And that's pretty public. You went through bankruptcy, and there was this the $5,000 business expense thing has been talked about by your detractors quite a bit. They say, what could you possibly be spending $5,000 on? Look, a month. You are a streamer who streams, by your own schedule. You're active 12 hours a day doing this, right? And
and by your own admission, you said like you didn't fix the set at all. It's been just a shoddy set for most of your over a decade of doing this.
Right. So there's this whole, like, what do your business expenses look like? I mean, I've done this for a long time. The business expenses are your initial cost of setting up your camera, your lights, and that's about it. And then after that, it's your cost
Internet
is
bill?
your time. Yeah, is your time, right? And so walk me through, what does that look like? What is it specifically? There's this $5,000 business expense every month. So what is this?
Okay, so first of all, we're talking about things that came out publicly during a bankruptcy proceeding, correct? And I believe that the $5,000 a month number came off of, I believe it's from a tax return. Is that correct? That it was filed, or the data? I'm trying to remember exactly where it came from. You guys probably know more than me because you've probably been inundated with this for 2 weeks. While I'm so far removed from this.
I want to hear it from you.
I think, again, I'm just speculating. I think what happened was when I filed for bankruptcy, a lot of information goes public. And so they look at a public filing. I guess there's certain information that's made public. I don't think it's all your tax returns. I think it's like 1 year's worth or something. And I guess there was a number that was thrown out there that it looks like Phil spends $5,000 a month on business expenses. Now, number one, I don't do my own taxes. I have a tax guy to do. I pay him to do it. Okay. Here's what I can tell you. All right. I can tell you right now, because I'm working on it right now for this year, what are considered expenses that a tax attorney wants to know you're spending every month? Geez. Your mortgage, because if you work from home, I guess that's part of it. I don't know. Again, I'm not a tax guy, but your cost of your mortgage, all of your utility bills that apply to you operating the business. Correct?
Hold on, Phil, you've been doing this for 17 years and you don't know what your business expenses are? You don't know what you get tax write-offs on and stuff? I mean, like...
Specifically, no, I don't. I give it all... I pay him a lot of money to a tax guy. I have a giant, spreadsheet of data that I provide. They work it out, because every year it's different. I get to feel the tax laws change and stuff, and they figure it out. I give them all the data. In fact, just got an email from a tax guy the other day. He's like, we still need this data for you for this year's tax filings. We need how much do you pay for utilities? What's your cost of internet this year? What's this? They need all that information. And I got to get them to, and then they do it. So here's the thing. All right. Everyone, we're really going to get to the meat of it, is this stupid WWE champions bullshit, which I cannot wait to talk about it.
We'll get to that, but I want to stay on this for a minute. Like, just once again, walk me through this, because, like, I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, and I'm trying to think through
while you're piecing it together, building that up. I just want to remind you, Phil, like you said at the beginning of this stream, you want this to be where people can go to finally, like, you just go watch that video, right? Yes. I don't have to say it anymore. So Correct. Like this, you said, like, what do we want to know? This isn't for us. This is for the people out there that are like, what about the $5,000 a month? You know, so, what about WWE champion, which we'll get into, like, what about these things? So it's like, this is your chance to now say, all right, it was the freaking business expenses, whatever. I mean, it was the mortgage, it was this. I don't know if that's actually considered a tax write-off. I don't want you to get in trouble, but I don't know. It just feels.
No, and see, that's the thing. Again, when I went into that bankruptcy, oh my God, that was the craziest rigmarole, because my tax attorney, excuse me, not my tax attorney, I misspoke. My bankruptcy attorney had no idea what they were getting into with me being a public persona. And there were things you can do, I guess, to protect from online harassment, which I tried to explain. They didn't really understand who I was or whatever. And so when all that went public, that was the most drama-filled bankruptcy hearing ever. The judge was inundated with thousands of messages from my haters about stuff. But anyway, let me answer the question first, and then we can get to anything you want to talk about there. I would assume the expenses are including everything that I do. Okay, that's related to the business, and that could include mortgage, any insurance that I'm paying that relates to the business, health insurance and or medical costs, legal costs, and that what I'm talking about is my tax attorney, but also other attorney and things that I've been involved in over the years, which maybe we will get into that today, or maybe we won't. I really can't talk too much about certain things. We'll get to that, about identity theft and stuff. I know it's the first time I ever mentioned that, you guys. So, among other things, all the normal things in a month. Like I said, utilities and all of that. It adds it up. Here it is. Here's my tax return. All of a sudden, I'm being accused that was a lie or something. All right, here's what I can say. Because I'm not going to sit here and go back to a 2010 tax return and say, here's what my accountant said or whatever.
Right.
This is from 2010. That's $5,000 a month.
Oh, excuse me. Did I say 2010? I meant 2020. That's totally my fault. I meant 2020. My bankruptcy was 2020. So I think the tax return that must be referenced is like 2019, something like that. Okay. Here's what I know. Because of the amount of trolling that happened to me, this judge that was involved in the bankruptcy hearing was attacked online with so much shit. I had to go into meeting after meeting with both my bankruptcy attorney and this judge. Hours of work. We went through line item by line item of all of my expenses. I had to explain to a judge who has no idea what live streaming is, the entire concept of being a live streamer, and showing every single expense and line item and rationalizing what it was to my business. This is this, right? And it took so much work. At the end of the day, after all that extra work and time and money that had to be put into my bankruptcy, it went through. The judge understood. I showed them everything. If anyone should see line item by line item what my business expenses are, it should probably be the judge who's going to make a ruling on if I should be granted bankruptcy or not, right? That's the government, a government representative, correct? They saw it all. They went through all of it. And at the end of the day, they said, this all makes sense, approved.
Well, but in the vast majority of time, winners in bankruptcy experience like some sort of relief, right? Whatever the debt is that you were paying, it's gone, right? So why do you have to go back to the well, going back to your audience, and ask your audience to crowdfund your content, when you claim and you still say that nothing has really changed financially for you?
Great question. Thank you for asking it, because this is one of the ones I get hit with every day. We just talked about 2021 and what happened with Twitch. Okay, so the bankruptcy goes through around mid to late 2020. I'm relieved of all this revolving debt that I had in my name, but there's still debt that remains. There's still my mortgage. There's still my car payment. There's still taxes. And taxes is a big thing, because for years there, I was not able to pay my federal taxes properly. And
you couldn't pay them, or you didn't prepare to pay them properly. There's a difference. Because
I thought you said that you paid a guy to do your taxes.
I do, correct, to file the taxes.
Because I think the one thing that people need to understand is that you are acting as an independent contractor with YouTube and Twitch and whoever, right? So when you're paid, when somebody gives you $1 super chat, YouTube takes 30% of that, right? And so you get 70%. That 70% then needs to be taxed by Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam comes in and they take however much of that. So by the end of it, you could be getting anywhere between 50 cents of that or 35 cents of that, depending on what your revenue is for the year, and you're the tax brackets you're in. It sounds like, Phil, that you didn't necessarily plan accordingly for that, and you didn't save your money to ultimately pay. And if you have a tax person to do this, a CPA, which is for any online creator, that's like the number one expense is having a CPA to do your taxes. That's the number one thing, because going through and that's extremely important. But your tax, has your tax person ever came to you and said, hey, you should probably prepay your taxes. You should be paying quarterly instead of having one big lump sum at the end of the year? Because seems really irresponsible for somebody who works online and has done so for 17 years to have a tax person who hasn't suggested that and haven't had you prepaid.
Do not, please. That my tax guy is great.
Okay.
He I have an estimate of what I should be paying, not even quarterly, monthly. Like, basically, can I make this monthly payment? And some months I can easily make it no problem, and other months I can't. I have to pay less depending on the income that I made that month.
But that income is based off of your tax for that month is based, and your quarter and your year is based off of the revenue that you're making that month. So if you make $10,000 that month, then you're going to be, then you prepay whatever, $2,000 in taxes, whatever, however much it is, right? So the money is already in your account. So why would you have trouble spending? Why would you have trouble with that? I'm really having a hard time following this, because if you have the money, it's either being spent before it's time to pay taxes, or I don't know. I don't know. Please walk me through it.
Whew, okay. So I have two revenue streams. One revenue stream is very much daily income that I get from my viewers, meaning like tips, let's say. Okay, that's pretty much tips on a stream. The other revenue stream is the other income that I get from YouTube. That's ad revenue, super chats, memberships, and all of that. Okay. Daily I get tips, and that essentially is the money that I'm using day to day to pay some bills, go grocery shopping, buy a new game for the stream coming up, all that kind of stuff. The YouTube money that comes in behind the scenes is what I use to do all my ongoing recurring payments, my mortgage, my car, health insurance payment or whatever. Here's what's happened, okay? The bankruptcy happens. Great. End of 2020, things are looking up. I'm actually getting more popular on Twitch. I'm starting to make good money. I announced to my audience in early 2021, hey guys, guess what? There's a light at the end of the tunnel. You guys are supporting me so much. The bankruptcy went through. It's looking like if you keep this going this year, not only for the first year in many years, because now the bankruptcy's over with, now I can pay all my taxes properly for the first time in a long time. Because, my problem is we have that much debt and everything. You can't, I couldn't do it. It was my fault. I was in financial ruin. All right, 2021, things are looking up. And then what happens? They get me kicked out of the Twitch partner program. They shut down other revenue streams for me that I can't really talk about. Later on that year, identity theft, which we might or might not get to today. I don't know if we'll talk about that. That's a huge one. Identity
you clearly
theft,
want to talk about it.
And we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. It cost me so much money to fix the identity theft thing. So now I went from I'm good to, I immediately have lost a revenue stream from Twitch. I have to go to YouTube. I'm making way less money on YouTube now than I was on Twitch. All that money that was going to make everything even, I'm good to go now, is gone again.
Watch the full 5-hour DarksydePhil interview and hit the subscribe button in the center of your screen to never miss a live episode of Side Scrollers Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time.